Louisiana is the world's prison capital.
Congratulations.
We're number one!
Yeah, woo!
No, this is a disastrous story. As we already know, the incarceration rate in the United States is ridiculous. But when you look at the incarceration rate in Louisiana, it's even worse. In fact, Louisiana's incarceration rate is 3 times that of Iran's, 7 times that of China's, and 10 times that of Germany's.
Congratulations. A way to kick Iran and China's ass. I mean, the Germans, come on, they're European socialists. Of course, we're going to imprison people more than the Germans. Come on, they're soft. But Iran and China, wow, putting distance between us. Nicely done. So I wonder if it had something to do with the incentive structure in Louisiana.
Yes. Now, we've talked about private prisons before on the show, but the way private prisons were established in Louisiana is very different from, these private prison corporations taking over. Because what happened in the 1990s is Louisiana had way too many prisoners. They didn't know what to do, right? So rather than reform their laws, so they got rid of these tough on crime laws and allowed nonviolent offenders to go free, they decided, okay, we're going to make a deal with the sheriffs. So they would go to the sheriffs of several different counties and say, why don't you guys build your own prisons? And whatever profit you guys have from those prisons, you can put back into your department. So sheriffs in several different counties started building their own prisons. And what they wanted to do is maximize their profits. So, of course, they arrested more and more nonviolent offenders. And all of a sudden, you see like the state prisons and the state jails having the violent offenders, the people who rob banks and do things like that, and they're in a much better facility because they're state funded, they're roomier, they're nicer, relatively speaking, and these private prisons, they're in horrible, horrible conditions.
So, do you understand why I talk about incentive structure? So, if you give a sheriff a financial incentive to arrest more people, now, go ahead, what do you think is going to happen? Of course, he's going to arrest more people. He's going to break all the records there is. He's going to kick Iran's ass on how many people he imprisons because he makes money imprisoning people. Now, that is the worst possible motivation that you can give a sheriff. Because he's supposed to be carrying out justice and protecting the community, not making a profit for himself by imprisoning more and more people. And then the second half of that equation is, well, he's going to make more money if his costs are lower. So who cares about what kind of prisons the violent versus non-violent offenders have? I'll make these prisons as crappy as possible so I can make as much profit as possible. So the ones who are the least risk get the worst kind of treatment, most likely to get arrested because we've set up a horrible system where we've privatized prisons and put sheriffs in charge of funneling people into there.
Now, going back to what you said about how they have an incentive of putting more and more people away, of course they target nonviolent offenders, people who are caught with weed and things like that. And when you look at the numbers, in the past 2 decades, Louisiana's prison population has doubled in the past 2 decades alone, costing taxpayers billions of dollars. And also, New Orleans continues to lead the nation in homicides. So it's not like it's really helping their cause at all.
Yeah, so did you solve the real crime problem in Louisiana? Absolutely not. Because that's not the objective. The objective is to make more money.
And of course, there's a racial angle to this as well. Because, all right, let's look at the numbers. 1 in 86 people in Louisiana are doing time. That's nearly double the national average.
That's pretty bad, 1 in 86, right?
That's very bad. But when you look at the black community, among black men in New Orleans, 1 in 14 is behind bars. However, 1 in 7 is either in prison, on parole, or on probation. 1 in 7.
And then, of course, racists will turn around and then say, see, well, they must have had it coming. Or
really? 1 in 7? Really?
Yeah. Or could it be that somebody makes money by putting more and more people in prison, and when they go looking for victims, I don't mean victims of crime, I mean victims to make money off of by putting them in prison, well, they think, you know what, minority communities have less political power, they have less money, they have less resources to fight back. You know, you go and try to arrest somebody in Beverly Hills, they're going to give you a lot of trouble, man. They're going to come with an army of lawyers. We talked about it on the show before. One of the people that works here, Steve O, is a former LA prosecutor. He knows they come with an army of lawyers. You're going to go arrest a poor black guy in Louisiana, you're not going to have any trouble at all. Easy money.